Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Retro SummerSlam review number 2. This episode of this review is going to be based off of WWE SummerSlam 2006. Well put together show. Practically every match was well worth the watch. I actually did watch every single match except for the Chavo, Guerrero, Rey Mysterio match. But I've seen this match countless times in the past with this DVD. So, no big deal. So first match, of course, was Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero. Well done match. Good action between the two. The storyline between these two, the storyline they used with Eddie Guerrero was way too long. I think they could have shortened this down a bit. I think after Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero in October, they should have just ended it. They didn't. They continued on throughout November and December with Chavo Guerrero and Chris Benoit with the United States title. I didn't particularly like the idea that they kept spanning on this whole situation. I think it was kind of overkill in my opinion, but it doesn't really matter. It's old news. It's 9 years ago practically. The next match, and this match was a 3.5 out of 5 star just because of the action that occurred in it. Both men being, as we all know, as cruiserweights, were very good at high-flying maneuvers. And, of course, the big surprise, Vicky Guerrero turning on Rey Mysterio in that situation. Never pictured her back in the day of her becoming a heel, in which case she stayed a heel her whole entire career, practically. So very weird situation back then, but was definitely a shocker and something different that I was not expecting going into this match. The next match after that was the Big Show versus Sabu for the World Heavyweight ECW Heavyweight Championship. This match was good, but it also wasn't great either. The reason why is because of Sabu. Sabu did a horrible job. He had too many botched scenes in this. He was botched city. I mean, if it wasn't for Sabu, this match would be a 4 out of 5 stars. It's only being rated, in my opinion, a 3 out of 5 stars. But a lot of good action, though. Sabu, one scene, he goes ahead, he drops the chair outside the ring while he's trying to climb up the turnbuckle. Big Show sees that. He's sitting in the corner by the turnbuckle, allowing him to get the time to go ahead, grab the chair, and do his thing on the turnbuckle and jump off of it, only to be countered by the Big Show. Then there was another segment, another part within this match where Sabu had the steel steps positioned to hold up the table itself, and he messed up by jumping on the table, and the table slid off the steps, and he had to fix it, put it back, and then leap up on Big Show and DDT'd him. Once again, Big Show doing what he needed to do to at least finish the action that they were trying to do within that spot. So, I mean, it was bad because of the fact of Sabu. Big Show, on the other hand, displayed very good dominance in this match. He displayed a very good image. He was definitely intimidating as a character in this match. Outstanding job on Big Show's part. Not easy to say anymore these days because of how old he is, how over the hill he is, and not to mention, he's been around for a long time to the point where it's just it's stale, boring, and it's just not fun anymore to watch him. But definitely not a bad match. 3 out of 5 stars, despite the fact of the botch maneuvers by Sabu in this pay-per-view match. The next match after that was Hulk Hogan versus Randy Orton, Legend versus Legend Killer. Back in the day, I used to love when they called Randy Orton Legend Killer because he was cocky, he was arrogant, and he just was the man, in my opinion. I think he was definitely one of the good attractions going on. The only thing that I found out later on throughout the years is that Randy Orton, during his time, he was doing some dumb things behind the scenes. He got addicted to pain medication, which is not something uncommon in professional wrestling, knowing what they do for a living. He ran his mouth a lot. He talked too much smack and bullshit. Got other people that he worked with pissed at him. And he also had confrontations with the audience at live events, as you would see in his documentary on the WWE Network. So very shocking information that I learned as time went on about Randy Orton. I never knew any of these things that were going on in his behind the scenes about him. So they explained a lot to why he didn't win more titles and be like at the same, level of John Cena. But later on it was explained why he wasn't, and it made a lot of sense. The match itself was okay. Definitely a 3 out of 5 star match. It would have been better if the match was a little bit faster, but with Hulk Hogan being involved in it, it's no surprise. On top of it, his leg was fucked up to shit. He had a horrible knee injury going into this pay-per-view, and they had him off television for several weeks before they had him on the pay-per-view altogether. So they were trying to allow him to recuperate and hopefully be able to make the match between him and Randy Orton, which of course he did. And the match was slow though, and the finish was the same old with the Hulk Hogan involved in the match. Him hitting a big boot, finishing it off with the leg drop, 1, 2, 3, end of match. Randy Orton did a well job, performed well, and despite the fact he was wrestling with Hulk Hogan, it was still a good match overall, so I have no complaints on that one. After that, we had Ric Flair going one-on-one against Mick Foley in an I Quit match. My God, this match was hardcore to the fucking bone. I mean, Ric Flair was crazy in this match. He was out of his mind. Give you one prime example. Goes ahead, he knocks Mick Foley off the apron, and Mick Foley hits the back of his skull onto the carpet floor and hits a trash can. Ric Flair grabs a mic, he goes ahead and he says, "Hey, you guys aren't stopping this match. This is an I Quit match, not a lay out on your ass match." I couldn't believe it. I started laughing my ass off, and I've seen this DVD, this pay-per-view, countless times, over and over again throughout the many 9 years that I've had this DVD. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't get old. The guy is fucking crazy in this match, really hardcore-ish. I think it would have been great if they could have stuck with this character, because I think Ric Flair definitely showed a different side of himself. He was brutal, mean, dirty, slimy, disgusting, and downright brutal and horrible. Ruthless guy. I mean, he was willing to hit Melina in the fucking face with a barbed wire bat. He was willing to do anything and everything to just beat Mick Foley, which not to be said that that's Ric Flair's style very often. He just generally finds shortcuts. This one, he just wanted to kill Mick Foley instead. And he practically did, almost. But Mick Foley got some really good shots in on this match, too. He really bloodied up Ric Flair. They both were bloody, banged up to shit. Definitely a very good match. 4 out of 5 stars all around. Both well done match by both competitors in this. And very impressed by the action that occurred in this match. Then following that match, we had the World Heavyweight Championship match between King Booker and Batista. Now, this match was very disappointing. Number one, the match was a bit slow. That's number one. Number two, the ending absolutely sucked. I don't know why the fuck they even bothered having this match at all. They could have just had this on a SmackDown episode and had a disqualification and left a decent ending for a Summerslam pay-per-view, and instead they left this for the pay-per-view altogether. That should have been just shown on SmackDown, and be left alone with it instead of wasting people's time watching this for 10 to 15 minutes of them beating each other up and then hopefully seeing an ending of one of them picking up a pinfall or a submission. And none of that happened because Charmel came in the ring, jumped on top of Batista while he was trying to go for the Batista bomb on Booker, and messes the whole thing up altogether. So, understandable knowing that it was going to be, they were trying to build off of it, But with as strong as a match card that they had, it really shouldn't have been on the pay-per-view. It should have been on SmackDown so they could build off of that and move it into something else. But it didn't really hurt the pay-per-view altogether. I just think that this match shouldn't have really been on the match card that they had, since they had such a well done, put together show. This match really could have been just saved for a SmackDown episode for people to see for free, since technically the ending wasn't all that great. The match itself, I give it a 3 and a 5, really. Nothing too big to talk about here in this one. Just an average okay match, but with a shitty ending. The next match from there, which is the co-main event, D-Generation X versus the McMahons. There ain't nothing much to say. The McMahons tried everything. They used different people in the roster to come out and beat Triple H and Shawn Michaels in this match before the match actually officially started. And yet, with all of that, DX walked away victorious. Back then, they were making DX seem like they were unstoppable. They could beat anybody, till they had Randy Orton and Edge teaming together to face D-Generation X. So, I mean, very good match. I love the finish on this, where Shane McMahon is trying to climbs on the top rope. They got the steel, this garbage can planted on Triple H's face, and he's doing a coast-to-coast drop kick, trying to hit Triple H in the face with his feet, and unfortunately, he met Shawn Michaels' super kick in the face, leading down to the mat, which is unbelievable, and looked fucking painful as hell. I couldn't imagine trying to take a shot like that in a match. Other things that they did that was, I mean, Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon doing all the different maneuvers by a bunch of famous tag teams was pretty funny. Thought that was pretty hilarious, especially when they were imitating the Hart Foundation and they were going like this, trying to be making fun of Bret Hart. Thought that was pretty humorous. And the match was good, despite the fact that Vince McMahon's limited wrestling capabilities and not being exactly what you call a good wrestler at all. This match was actually really fun, entertaining, and a load of enjoyment. So I definitely give this match a 4 out of 5 stars. Actually, I should say 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was definitely well worth the watch. If anything else, if you don't watch anything else on this pay-per-view, that was definitely worth it. Then the main event, Edge versus John Cena, one of the greatest rivalries back in the 2006, 2005 portion. This was a great time in wrestling. These two had great matches with one another. Despite the fact that John Cena, back in this time, he wasn't even as good as he is now. He's really improved over the years. But back then, I had to agree with a lot of people. Back then, John Cena absolutely sucked. He didn't deserve to be in the WWE title picture as much as he was. And at the end of the day, Edge walked away victorious, doing the sneakiest, dirtiest thing, and he managed to pull it off, even with the ruling being in there that if he gets disqualified, counted out, he would lose the WWE Championship, and yet he still found a way to cheat and retain the championship altogether. Awesome fucking ending. Really enjoyed the match. Brutal. They were pretty hard on each other too. They took some heavy bumps from one another in this match, and definitely another 4 out of 5 star match. Really enjoyed that match itself. That's another good match if you didn't want to watch anything else but the main event. It was definitely a main event type match. Of course, it was the main event altogether, but if you didn't feel like it was the main event, it was. So that's all I have to say about that. So really fun, entertaining show. Definitely, if you have never watched SummerSlam of 2006 before in your life, I would definitely check it out on the WWE Network, which is only $9.99. Oh yeah, but I also have it on DVD, so I don't have to worry about the WWE Network, whether I have it or I don't. But at this time, leave your comments and opinions down below. I'd love to hear from you guys about what you guys, if you guys know about the pay-per-view and have seen it several times. Give me your thoughts about it, what you guys thought about it, and I'll get back to you on your comments. But at this time, hit that subscribe button and have a great night, guys. Bye.